Sorry. I just came home and I need to get ready. So microphone, my mic stand. So hello and welcome to attaQ. My name is Jakob. I'm your host and you're watching a attaQ episode. In this episode, we're gonna have a look at using samples with the Roland MC-101. Yeah, that's right. Let me just turn this on so it looks a bit nicer. That looks much better. Now that's some high definition there. Using samples with your Roland MC-101. Now, the MC-101 doesn't have an audio input. Now, you're supposed to be able to stream audio into the MC-101 over USB when you've got it connected to a laptop or desktop computer. But this is not something I've been looking into. I've been looking really deep into using SD cards with the MC-101. And so that's what we're gonna do. Once you get your device out of the box and you remove that little metal plate on the back, you'll find an SD card in there. 8 gigabytes right there, some more high definition for you. You simply take that SD card, you put it on a desktop or laptop computer, and then you move whatever samples you want to use over to the sample folder on the SD card. It should also be noted that the SD card that comes with the Roland MC-101 has been formatted with an FAT file structure, FAT. And I've tried other cards inside here, but they didn't work. And when I looked closer at them, they had all been formatted in exFAT because they're pretty big. Usually with smaller cards like 16 gigabyte cards, 8 gigabyte cards, 2 gigabyte cards, they're usually formatted in FAT or FAT32, while the big 64 and 128 and 256 gigabyte card have all been formatted in exFAT. But let's say you buy a new SD card. A new SD card is not going to have that Roland MC-101 file structure in it, so you won't find a samples folder, right? Well, in that case, you first need to format the card inside the MC-101. Check this out. Okay, so let's say we just purchased a new card. Now, all we need to do is to put this in here. So it's completely new. It doesn't have anything on it, but it is formatted in FAT. And so we just proceed to turn the device on. And once the Roland MC-101 is booted up, we can go into the utility menu that you will be able to find under the filter button here. And in order to access the utility menu, all you have to do is to press Shift and hold it down and then the filter button. And the next step is to scroll to SD card format. Once we press this down, it will ask us if we want to format the SD card. We scroll to OK and press it down. When it's done formatting the card, it will also have put the Roland MC-101 file structure on there. So now when you take the card out of it, just remember to turn off your device before you plug out the card. So now if you take this card and check the file structure on it, you'll find a folder called Roland, and in there you'll find a folder called Project and then a folder called Samples. And that's the folder you want to use for your samples. Now, if you're on iOS like me, then you're in luck because iOS 13 makes it possible for us finally to use SSD drives, card readers, USB sticks, and of course, being able to use card readers is just amazing because now we can actually take the SD card from the MC-101, put it into a card reader connected to our iPad or iPhone, and then move our stuff over through the Files app. So I need to switch out my jeans. And there we go. Right, so once you've got your samples onto the SD card, into the samples folder. Then from there you can start using your samples to do stuff with. Now, doing stuff doesn't sound specific enough, but what we're going to do in this episode is we are going to be building our own drum kit. Okay, so now that we have our samples onto the SD card here in the back, we can start using it for our own stuff. Now, you can use samples to make drum kits. You can also use samples for tones, which means you can pretty much play them like a keyboard or a synth, and you can also play them polyphonically. Another thing you can do is use samples for looping. But what we're going to do is to build our own drum kit. Yes. And I'm going to be mixing samples together with factory stuff. And the MC-101 comes full packed with drum sounds. So the first thing we're going to do is to make a new project. And we do that by pressing the project button up here in the left corner. Now, it might be hard to see. I think I can probably brighten up the picture. But right now it says project and new. Now, if it doesn't say that, you can simply just scroll to that point. All we need to do now is to press this down, and it's going to ask us if we want to make a new project. We're going to flip it over to OK, and it's going to do that. Right, so here we have a new project, and it's already chosen track 1, clip 1 for us. And it's already got a drum kit loaded. And so we can start working from here. But what if you wanted your drums to be on channel 4? Well, we're going to make that happen. So if we look closely here, we can see that number 1 and number 2 is lit up. And that's because those tracks have something in them. But number 3 and number 4 are dark. And that's because those tracks are empty. So we're gonna use track 4 to make drums on. So we go to the track select and press down 4. Now it's gonna ask us if we want to do a tone or a drum plus compression or a looper. And what we're going to do is we're gonna choose a drum. And just press it down like that. So it's got that initialized kit again. And as we can see, it's now glowing in a color. So now we can start working. Now, if you want to switch a whole kit, all you need to do is to press down the data knob here. And then you go into presets and you can choose a ready-made kit. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to back out, pressing exit here. In order to place individual drum sounds or individual samples on individual pads, we actually need to edit this on the pad itself. And here's where the shift button comes into use. So press and hold down the shift and then press the pad where you want to switch out the sound, like this. And now we've got another menu and we can choose between preset, project, and wave file. And here is exactly where we need to be. So press this down and now we can see our samples. Now here's something I have an issue with. You can't preview these samples. You can preview the factory stuff already inside the MC-101, but you can't do that with samples. Right, so let me clarify what I mean. All of the samples and wave files that we put onto the external storage device, the SD card, well, they have to be loaded into the active memory, into the RAM, in order to be heard. This machine can't stream the audio from these samples until you load them. So you won't hear anything from the wave files you've got on your SD cards until you select and load them. Now the bass drum I know is number 12, so I'm gonna choose that one. And there it is. Now we're gonna switch out the snare drum too. Shift and then press the pad, and here we get the menu. Go into wave file and then choose the right snare. I know it's number 29. Now, if you wanted to use a factory sound, let's say you want to switch out this clap, then we simply go to Shift, press Pad 2, and go to Preset. Now here we can choose to browse sounds from all numbers or by the alphabet or by the category. And we want to go to clap. So we're just going to keep on moving to clap, press that down. Choose that one, and there we go. Right, so I'm not gonna sit here and do the same thing with all of the pads. The procedure is the same, but let's say we're done. We're done with our kit and we wanna save it. Well, you can't actually save kits. So you're gonna have to choose to save a project. But I'm gonna show you how to do this if you wanna use a kit in another project. So first we go to save the project. We press project and then we scroll to write. We press down and it's gonna prompt us to write in a new name. Now I'm just gonna call this new, let's see here, new pla. That's a great name. Press down, it's gonna ask us to save and say okay. Right, okay, so let's say we are making a new project and we wanna use this drum kit we've already made. So we go to project and we go to new, and it's gonna prompt us and we say okay. It's gonna make a new project, and once it's loaded, I'm gonna show you how to use the kit we just made. So here we got a new project, and let's say we want to have the new drums we made on channel 3 inside this new project. So we're gonna choose track 3, and since it's empty, it's gonna prompt us and ask us what kind of a track do we want this to be. Now we already know that we made a drum track, so there we go. So it's got that initialized kit. So how do we add the kit we made in the PLA project into this project? Remember how I told you in the beginning that if you want to switch out the whole kit, then all you need to do is just have the right track selected. We know this is a drum kit. We want to switch it out. All we have to do is to press this down. So we press it down and it's going to ask us, do we want to use a preset drum kit? And we can use that, but no, that's not what we want to do. And if we scroll clockwise, we get to project. And this is where we want to be. So just press down here, and here we can scroll through all of the projects on this thing. And we need to find the PLA. The PLA? Where's the PLA? And there we go, new PLA. Choose this one, and as you can see, it will only display the tracks where we got some stuff done. Now remember, we made our kit in track number 4. So we're gonna choose that one, press down, and it's gonna load it. And here we go. And that's how you do it. Now in the next video, I'm gonna show you how you can edit the drums, because the level of editing and the stuff you can do, that's what I like about the MC-101. It's really, really, really deep.
Right, listen up. We're going in hard and rough. No point in playing tough. We're going in hard and rough. Right, listen up. We're going in hard and rough. No point in playing tough. We're going in hard and rough. Right, listen up.
Now there's something I want to highlight before I round this up, and that is, I've seen a lot of comments online saying, hey, this thing is too expensive, it's so tiny, why is it expensive, it costs more than this one and this one. Well, simply it is a case of you get what you pay for. When you start looking under the hood and what you can actually do with it, one thing I always want to do is I want to be able to filter off individual drum sounds. And normally you can't do that. You'll have this one filter going off on the entire drum channel. Or if you're working with a drum machine, you might have to add an equalizer on there, but you still can't equalize all of the drum channels individually unless you're using a drum machine that has individual drum channels out. Well, here's the thing. This thing can do that. It has a 3-band filter for each and every drum pad, each and every drum sound. Each of them. Not only that, it also has an equalizer that goes onto the entire drum channel. Not only that, you can send each of the drum sounds to the send effects individually. You have a lot of tweaking to do. You have so many send effects. You have a bunch of different compressors. There's so many algorithms in here. It's just insane. And so hence the price tag. Another thing is that the thing is pretty sturdy. So when you touch the knobs and faders, initially I thought they would be really tacky and wobbly and stuff, but they're not. I am going to review this, but the reason to why it's taking me so long in order to even get started with a video on this is because of the amount of stuff in here. This thing can also be battery powered with four AA batteries, and it can be powered over USB. And for all my iOS viewers out there, this thing is not class compliant, so you cannot connect this to your iPad or your iPhone. So that's one thing. But this is a really portable, really awesome little device. Yeah, stay tuned for some deeper video. Once I figure out what kind of an angle I should have at this, I'll give you my full thoughts. Now, if you learned anything new, if you found this video useful in some way, then why not hit that like, because that really helps with this channel. It really helps the channel out, because YouTube will promote my videos to more people, because you're telling YouTube basically that my content is relevant. Also, subscribe. Don't forget to press in the bell thing so you get notified. I don't understand. Why did YouTube do that? Why did they put in this two-factor authentication? Like, oh, I'm gonna subscribe. I mean, that's enough, right? No, that's not enough for notifications. You need to have a little bell thing. If you want to support me in a financial way, then you have a Patreon, you got PayPal, and you can also check out my music. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.